Let me make a clear distinction between what we did in week 1 of the course, a moderation analysis or analysis of treatment heterogeneity, and what we do now, the analysis of mediators. Remember the example that we discussed in week 1 about providing feedback to households and its effect on their electricity use. Then in week 1 we looked at heterogeneity, and that always relates to pre-treatment characteristics of subjects in your study. In this particular example, we discussed baseline electricity use. So this is again a variable that we collected prior to manipulation of X, X being feedback, the treatment. So we interacted the treatment indicator T with the pre-treatment characteristic high, where high stands for high baseline electricity use. What we discuss now, and that's shown in the causal diagram on the right, is something that happens after manipulation of X, of the treatment, in this case feedback. One of the channels by which the treatment may affect the outcome is social norm updating. That's a variable that intervenes in the relationship between the treatment and the outcome. Mediation is something that you can see as the reason for the effect. Why does it occur? Well, for those reasons, and the reasons that you then mention are mediators. It must be a causal result of the treatment, and it must be a causal antecedent of the outcome. So it's really in between the two. Whereas moderation, so heterogeneity, is more about putting the effect in context, so looking at contextual factors that may affect the strengths of the relationship between the treatment and the outcome, such as electricity use prior to the treatment, obviously affecting the size of the treatment effect. So a moderator should never be a causal result of the treatment. So if we then look at the example that we discussed earlier this week, so the effect of screen activity at night on sleep quality, then H. Is H a mediator or a moderator? Well, is H a causal result of screen activity and a causal antecedent of sleep quality? No. So it must be a moderator, right? So H is a pre-treatment characteristic that affects or may affect the strength of the relationship between screen activity and sleep quality. Then melatonin levels. Melatonin levels are a causal result of screen activity. At least that is hypothesized, and it is a causal antecedent then of sleep quality. So melatonin levels are indeed a mediator. Then exposure to ambient light. That's an interesting one now, because exposure to ambient light may well be affected by screen activity, and it may keep you inside, and especially in the summertime this may greatly affect how much ambient light you consume at night, and it may actually have the result of increasing melatonin levels and improving your sleep quality. So exposure to ambient light is also a mediator.